We're back with you, and on today's show, want to be entered into a draw for something really cool? An Apple iPad Pro, 11-inch that is, folks. The Lions Foundation of Canada Dog Guides tells us how today on the show we can enter this. And looking for the ultimate Super Bowl snack lineup just for one, maybe, all right, we'll include the family because for sure you're looking for it. Culinary expert Mary Mammoliti is here to help you indulge in game day glory without breaking a sweat. Ah, boy, or the bank, of course. So get a helmet, folks. It's time to get in the game, grab your wings, and let's fly off into today's show.
This is Kelly and Company.
With me today, Ramya Muthan, a good, what is this, Thursday edition of the program. Crawling to the end of the month, Ram.
Oh my, yeah, it's the 30th of January as we tape. That is wild to me. January feels the longest of the year. It obviously has all 31 days as well, so it's a full month. And yet, 2025 is, I don't know, just skipping through, it feels. Not even in a good way. Not even in a good way. Just.
Does January always feel long to you?
Yeah, usually. It feels long, I think so. It feels tedious, it feels blah.
It includes Blue Monday and all these unpleasant things that come with it. You know, hey, this is the day where people get their credit card bills. This is the day where people sit back, realize, oh, I got to spend the rest of the month at home because I ain't got any money.
Yeah. Also, it just feels stretched. It feels much longer because there's less activity, or there was too much activity in December, and then you're just like, this is the natural kind of yang of the year.
They knew in future Ramya Muthan would say these things, so what they did is they shortened February. Well, except every 4 years, of course.
Sure, because you had to bring it back to please the other people.
Well, I'm going to please some people out there. We've got some really cool stuff. We're going to tell you later on how to enter a contest as we teed off the top. But let's talk quickly about tomorrow's show. The theatrical release of the highly anticipated feature documentary Blue Rodeo, Lost Together, is making its run across Canada. Director Dale Heslop and band member Jim Cuddy will be our special guests on our Friday edition of our show. We'll talk about the documentary, some things from it, and of course, one of Canada's most prolific bands we will get into a discussion about, and you'll figure out how close that documentary will be coming to you and really honor a band that has been a huge part of Canadian history and what we are as a country, just a bunch of people having fun, making music, and unique too. So remember, they'll be on the program to discuss the documentary tomorrow, and it'll be a lot of fun. We'll kick the show off with that when we are here with Kelly and Company. So Ramya, as a blind person, I always think, how does it feel to dance? Do most of us kind of have that concept? Do we know? Because we're going to talk about whether blind people do dance or not. Christine Malec, we welcome you back to the show. This is a topic, something that has been on your mind. Welcome back, Chris.
Thank you.
So, again, we get into food for thought because there's so many reasons someone may choose to, someone may not. We're going to talk to all of us about kind of how we feel, we move, we do things. So let's start with some of the obvious reasons why someone who is blind or low vision, Chris, may be hesitant to actually take up dance in any form.
There's a few. And of course, I'm only speaking from my own experience, and I have no expectation that anyone around the virtual table needs to talk about their experience. Of course, you certainly can. But so I'm just going to go through some of the more, conspicuous ones. And to be fair, many of these apply to sighted people as well. So we needn't feel completely, pointed out. But the main one that we share to some degree with sighted people is, how do I look compared to other people? So I guess there's two kinds of ways. There's two ways to think about dancing. One is alone in your living room, and one is in a public space. So maybe actually I'll start with alone in your living room, because that's a little simpler. There might be things like, moving through space. And Kelly, I want to come back to you about this one in a few minutes, because it's related to theatrics and theatrical stuff and stage stuff, and how we move our bodies and how self-aware we are of our bodies in space. And especially maybe if you're new to vision loss, the sense of, even in a familiar space, where am I in relation to other things? Am I safe to move around? And dancing doesn't need to be super moving all over the place, but
Right.
that's an element. You want to feel free. You want to feel free in your body. Um, uh, so then if you, and if you're alone, there's not too much, maybe there's some element to overcome of like, do I look weird or foolish? And even for some of us, when we're alone, we might tussle with that one. Frankly, I'm way way past that one, but that's a valid thing even when you're alone. And then when you move into a public space, all sorts of other things come into play. So definitely the physical space aspect becomes even more important, because you're more likely to be in a place you're not familiar with. You have to be concerned about other people, what other objects are in the room. Am I going to get lost in the space and disoriented? Then there's the huge one of, how do I look compared to other people? And absolutely 100% sighted people fret about this as much, maybe even more than we do. But we don't get the feedback. So a sighted person can look around and gauge like, okay, well, those 5 people over there, they look like they know what they're doing, even less than I do. So I don't feel quite so conspicuous. And again, this is a journey that you take, and everyone's going to have different levels of how much you care. Like, ideally, who cares? And frankly, the older I get, shyness is just so much a thing of the past. So that's a bonus of aging. But those are some of the big, and then again, sighted people worry about this too. Am I doing it right? Not just, do I look weird, but am I
Yeah.
doing the right kind of movements for the right kind of music? And again, we're at a huge disadvantage there, because we don't know exactly what salsa looks like, or if the song is sort of a swing song, like what's the style? And there might be really definitive hand gestures that everyone knows means this kind of dance, but we don't. So those are the main things. But what I want to come back to is that it's all about attitude. And I'm not saying, therefore, just stop caring, because that's impossible. That's not
It
something you
is.
can just
Yeah.
switch off, right?
Yeah.
But there's a process within which we can decide, I want to care less. I want to start caring less and less. And if you decide that, then there's things you can do to help make that happen, to help yourself care less about how we're perceived.
I was saying this earlier to Jacob on AMI today, that when I was a kid, my sister would pull me off the couch and make me dance. We'd do the fast dancing, and she'd let me just be silly, and it was called dancing, to where I just thought that was dancing, that you could move whatever. Her key for me, and my sister was a tremendous dancer years ago. She enjoyed it very much, self-taught, and just enjoyed doing it. So I had someone to teach me a little bit about moving and not feel so self-conscious. But a lot of it was just stick to the rhythm. Do the rhythm. And that was enough of a struggle for me. Doesn't matter, as you said, Chris, what I was doing in the fast dancing. It made me more comfortable, less self-conscious, because I almost felt, if I was silly and my mom was laughing or my dad laughing at what I was doing, it was dancing and it was okay. And that's what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if either of you have heard of ecstatic, which is kind of like a dance experience where you go into a room and it's kind of, I don't know if you describe it as like EDM music, house music, that type of beat. And everyone is encouraged to just move your body. It's a judgment-free zone. People are there not to practice dancing, but just to move. That's it. And
Comfortable.
Exactly. So I was kind of introduced to it, shoved, if you will, into this experience. And and it really does challenge you to do exactly what you're saying, Chris, which is let go, like let go of the pretenses, let go of the fear, let go of what you think others might be thinking of you while they're moving, because you're just supposed to be kind of in your zone, but you're parallel playing with everybody else there who's
Mm,
experiencing or supposed to be experiencing the same thing, which is that vibe of being alone in your living room, but just doing it in the comfort of other human beings who are there with you.
So you're
But
not so
it's tough
shy.
though. It's
Yeah,
still tough.
and I
Like,
always wonder what when we do this, what our go to is. Is it rocking on the spot, kind of moving back and forth?
yeah.
We all have our, especially being blind, like you said, Chris, a while ago about being where there's other people. That's the worst thing because you are worried about running into someone, hitting someone, body checking someone by
Mhm.
mistake, or potentially hurting
No,
someone. What is this?
yeah,
seriously, yeah.
it's true.
It's the
It's a
same
thing. It's a thing.
when
Stepping
you
on
go to
feet.
like when you go to dance clubs or that kind of thing. I feel the same way, Kel. I'm like, huh, but I don't know what everybody else is doing, so I don't know what's appropriate and
And
not. Like if I
loud.
swing my arm and hit somebody in the head, yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah.
loudness.
But
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes I think, in my own experience, right? Sometimes I think going to a dance class and learning the moves to a particular type of dance is more comforting, because then you feel like you're learning
Yes.
the ins and outs of what you're supposed to
Something.
be doing, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it doesn't
exactly.
take
Something.
away if you have to be dancing around other people and you try to stay in your space, but you might be good at it, you may not be, and you might drift. You
Mm,
could know your steps, and hopefully that is your saving grace. But again, I think that's what gets so many of us. And as some people get being silly, they're just all over the place, and they don't care because you'll watch out for them if you can. And I think that's the scary stuff. At home, doing your own thing, the most you got to worry about is tripping over something, and that which still could be bad. But it is so confidence. And like you said, Chris, not just for a blind person. This is just not a blind person issue.
Totally, totally. And I feel like there's one way to mitigate some of these issues, which is if you're going to dance in a public space, have a buddy and stay in physical
yes.
contact. And
Yeah.
so the other night, I had an amazing experience where I went to a week. It's a weekly. It's called contra dancing. It's a bit like square dancing, and they do it in a church basement. It's super fun, super
Cool.
live music with a fiddle. And the thing is that I would go up with I was luckily I was with someone who is a teacher, and so he would pick the dances that were contact, like where you were always going to be in contact with a partner. And so once that element is in place, you know 70% of the concerns are out the window, because he's going to make sure that I'm moving in at least in the right direction. I'm not going to get lost on the floor, which is my big nightmare. And he's going to be giving me sort of directions. And so, one of the things, yeah, that's one thing that I find incredibly empowering and just sort of helping me to be more confident is to
Mm,
find a situation where I can be in physical contact with someone at all times. And yeah, that's a
very
super
true.
helpful thing. So,
Well, and it
like,
allows you to
if you,
enjoy it without the stress.
yeah, you can
Right. For
relax.
you, that's what works.
Yeah. Well, you know what
Um,
Yes.
happens when you go to some of these events hosted for the blind and low vision community, or like where majority of patrons will be blind and low vision, galas and such. And when it's dance time, yeah, I end up feeling that like a lot of us end up just holding hands and hanging out together and dancing together in a big circle on the dance floor. And that's when you feel like you're the most comfortable, because, yeah, you relieve that pressure
And
of
besides, there's a
feeling
whole
like
Totally.
you're
bunch of you can
alone.
just run other people right over if they get in your way. But I think other people do that. Friends, groups of friends will go out and they kind of have their own
Definitely.
circle. And
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea how much hand holding or whatever's going on. Keeping contact. But some people, that's what I understand. They get out there as a group and they're having their fun because they're comfortable with each other, know each other, as opposed to some
Yeah.
strangers come up, hey. The other area I kind of liken this to is our same issues going to gyms, right? When you talk about not knowing, am I doing the
Mhm.
right exercise? It's kind of like, am I
Oh,
doing the right dance step? You could be say, hey, I
yeah.
think I want to join the so and so group, Aquafit or whatever, and
Mhm.
you have no idea based on the instructor or who's ever if you're even remotely doing the right thing. So that is one other area that I liken this kind of stress to.
It's all about preparation. And
It
so
is.
I feel like when I went to this group, it was interesting because one time I went and I said, "Can I please just have like 15 seconds of the room's attention, and I said, "Hey, I'm new. I want to let you know I'm totally blind. So if you find yourself next to me and I'm holding out my hand, just grab my hand." And that's what's going on. And
Oh,
this time we
I
didn't
love
do that,
that.
and it led to some chaos because people didn't understand that I was just waving my hand out, expecting someone to grab it. So, and the thing is, if you're going to a gym or a dance class, absolutely reach out to the instructor or to someone at the gym, or
Yeah.
get a little session with a personal trainer, because letting people around you know that you're blind is, it's like an ID cane, right? It makes you
Yeah.
safer. It's just the right thing to do. And if you do that and you find the instructor is completely closed, they don't know how to use their words, they're afraid of you, you can just decide to go somewhere else. But I think
Yes.
any competent teacher or fitness instructor or guide is going to understand, okay, so this means I'm going to use my words way more. I'm not going to
Mm,
visually demonstrate and start making gestures the person can't see. And so it does
yeah.
take some effort to find a person who's able and willing to embark on that. But any competent teacher, instructor is just going to approach it with an open mind. I've had some incredible dance teachers. And so do the prep work, find a space that if you want to take it on, do some research, call up a few different places in your area and find the instructor who's going to be able to talk to you.
Yeah.
I
I bet
respect
you
that
find
approach
it
so
more.
much, by the way, that you
Mm.
kind of take it upon yourself to be like, "Hey, I'm here. I'm not sure if I know what I'm doing, but I'm putting my hand out, so, let's dance."
I bet they're
Because
Yeah, and
it
more.
takes
I bet
that
they're more
stress off the
receptive
other
too
people.
at a
That's
dance
what
oh,
it
they
place
puts out
than
to
at a
me.
gym or
It
anything
sounds
like
like it
that.
would be.
It sounds like
I
it. Yeah.
hope so. I hope so. Like that's the intention is any teacher instructor wants to engage with your students, and
Yeah.
um,
And
even
creative.
if
They're
it's
more
new.
creative.
Yeah, and they may need a bit of guidance. Like, as you say, I'm blind. They're not automatically going to know, obviously, as we all know. They're not going to
Hmm.
automatically know how to communicate best. But so then add things like, so instead of making a gesture, please use your words and try to remember to be very specific about body parts and left and right. And if someone's receptive, they're gonna learn. They're gonna figure it out. And it's so rewarding. And so like for example, CNIB did something great in Toronto where there's someone who is, well, CNIB hosted, and there was a woman who is a folk dancer. And these are the kind of folk dances like from Eastern Europe or the Mediterranean, where you're in a circle, you're holding hands, you're moving around 10 steps to the right, 10 steps to the left, step in, step out. And they're sort of formulaic. And so it's not expressive as such, I don't think. It's more about doing things together, but it's so prescribed that if you can learn, reasonably quickly, you're with a group of people, you're all attached. And so it's kind of about finding the opportunities wherever you are. If you have an active local blindness organization, reach out, say, do you have any dance programs? If you
Hmm.
are near some dance studios, reach out. I'm interested. How can we work together? So it takes some
Yeah.
effort to find the right place for you if it's something you want. But even if you're just in your living room, like you said, Kelly, it's about starting with the rhythm. So like just listen to a song and clap along, the
Yeah.
and if
Because
we're lost. I can't help singing the
oh,
Jim Cuddy.
wow,
I know.
impressive.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's really
just
cool.
before we wrap, the question I want to ask you is really go back to telling us about the intention of moving your body. Like, what is it? Because this conversation is very helpful, and it does, end on a very confident note. Like, we can do it, but why?
Yeah.
Like, why is this
Why?
actually
Oh,
exciting? Why should we, try to unravel the knots in our stomachs as blind and low vision people and go out there and try to move our bodies?
such a good question. I mean, there's the basic fitnessy things that we should all be moving our bodies, but
For sure.
there's also an expression of joy and an expression of exuberance, or maybe it's an expression of grief, or an expression of sadness, or an expression of any other emotion. But for me, dancing is most often about a bit of exuberance, and I love music.
Mm.
So music will often just move me into that exuberant space and want to move my body. But I feel that especially as blind people, we're so of necessity, we're so cautious with our bodies, not maybe
Yes.
even at home, but especially in a public space. We're very cautious of our own boundaries. And am I taking up too much space? And am I safe? And all
For real.
essential concerns. And so I think it's essential. Like, it's so important to find it doesn't have to be dance. It might be some other physical thing, but I'm completely convicted. Like, I have complete conviction that it's an essential part of mental health to have a
Mm-hmm.
way to move our bodies in a way that feels safe and expressive and exuberant. And before we go, I just got to say, when you said Jim Cuddy was coming on tomorrow, I was like hugging myself in excitement. So if you get the chance, please tell him there's this middle-aged blind lady who's dying to sing backup with him and do duets. So if
Ah,
he's looking for a
the
little
crazy part
folky,
is,
oh my gosh, tell what?
Chris, he may have come on today, and I was really keeping my fingers crossed that it was going to be today. It just didn't work. I know.
Yeah, we were
You could
I
have
have
balancing,
these
said it
we were working it.
yourself.
I
Yeah.
have like
I
half a
thought
dozen little life daydreams. Do you
I
know
thought
this
Chris
about
would be
me? One of them is
useless
to sing
us
with Jim
if
Cuddy.
he's coming on
Aw.
after
You are so.
Chris.
I was almost useless
Oh.
today once I found out Jim, because all I wanted to say was, please tell him you know a singer who's dying to do a duet with him. It's one of my life goals. Dying to do a duet
I
with him.
have to ask you, Chris, before you go. You kind of mentioned to me and made me start thinking, okay, what's she going to ask me regarding theater? And I think that it's all that confidence on your feet that dancing, that movement.
How do you learn
allows
that on
you
a
to
stage?
have, right?
That's what
and
I was sorry, I never
know.
got to
I
it
know.
on a stage. How do you move around freely? That weirds me out completely.
and I was thinking that when it comes to singing and trying to dance, especially as a blind artist, so how much movement, and I talked with the late Jeff Healy about this, because Jeff would get up, move around a bit, but I know that others do some tremendous movement and dance and things like that.
Choreo
But
yeah.
I think with theater, it's rehearsal, knowing where you're going. You get
I think it's the
confident,
same thing for
but not
dance.
everybody has that, right? And I think you've got to get it in your earlier days of your strength in your body, your rhythm, and definitely sense of direction. But you got to believe in yourself.
Balance is very important.
For sure.
Yes,
because
yes.
any little thing could throw you off. But I think when you know, I can learn this, I can do this, it's magic to
Yes.
yourself. And taking those confident footsteps, not taking some of our stiff blind walking, because where the heck is the
Tentative.
step? Let me edge my toes forward, which also play into some of the harm of the way we walk as
100%.
blind people in our lower backs and so on. So but I was thinking
100%.
that as an actor and yourself as a musician, and so many things that I can imagine a lot of blind musicians must say, I want to move around. That the singing is powerful. It gives me that feeling. So does movement for dance. How can I combine the two?
Yeah. I don't want to sing and dance at the same time, actually, but I am interested in how you learn the confidence to move around a stage. So just remember, tell Jim I'm right here. If he wants a
we will.
duet with a middle-aged lady,
Directly.
please. I'm so right here. I'm right here.
All right, Chris. Thanks a lot.
Jim Cuddy.
Jim
How do
Cuddy,
you do it? Oh my
Tomorrow on the
All
show,
right.
right?
Oh my gosh. What a
Thanks,
coup.
Chris.
What a
Thanks,
coup.
Chris.
Thank you.
It's all about movement and fun, ladies and gentlemen, so we can at least try to get comfy about it in our own way. And I think, Ramya, the most tremendous thing, in our own way, get comfortable. And as Chris said, a little easier said than done. It's a lot of growing that. I'm not going to lie. When my sister would, oh, come on. Well, I don't want to do this, and you ask yourself, are you just lazy? You just not want to move around? Or do you worry how much about being silly? And I think that's 50% of people's worry. Blindsided, whoever you are, I want to do it right. Yeah, but you have no business doing it right. You've never learned this. Yeah, but I want to do it right. You don't know how to do it right yet. Take your time to learn it. But mostly, have fun with it.
Yeah, and the having fun part is the part that we're supposed to prioritize, but it's the last thing on our list when we're like, ooh, but how do I look?
So we talk a lot in our world about plastic, and when are we going to get rid of plastic bags? Or when are we going to switch over to that? Or, oh my gosh, there's lots of plastic this in the waterways. So just a little note here, something that they've noted in England. Plastic bottle types found outnumber types of species of fish. This is from the BBC News in Gurney. A marine biologist has recorded more types of plastic bottles washed up on Guernsey's beaches than the total variety of fish in UK waters in the last 7 years. Now, Richard Lord has said that he has logged over 330 types, the same number of the different types of fish species that the UK government has charted. He says plastic water bottles are a single-use item that are discarded in unimaginable amounts. It litters the environment all over the world, and he says that the research they did was a collaborated effort, really amongst a bunch of beachcombers that spent the time looking, collecting, and charting. The team has collected plastic bottles originating from 69 countries. This is what they've found, including China. Wow, those bottles travel. Dubai, Russia, South Korea, Syria, and Turkey. He said, we can say confidently there are more plastic bottle brands recovered from the English Channel than there are bottles in bottles in the whole English Isles. Okay, they'll be able in the future to probably determine that there are more plastic bottle types than species swimming around. They estimate 1 million bottles are used every day throughout the world. Scientists have said that there are more than 171 trillion pieces of plastic estimated to be floating in the world's oceans. He believes, Mr. Lord, that a fair proportion of the litter comes from ships that illegally dump. When they get to a port, don't have a place to get rid of some of that garbage, they get out to the high seas and dump out there. And of course, they just dump it out there so it reduces whatever costs, which puts that cost in the public realm, Ramya. If we do this practice of not doing stuff like that, we'd have a lot cleaner beaches out there instead of being a collection place for bottles and plastic. Really scary.
Unfortunate. We're cheap as always. We don't look ahead and plan. But the comparison of how many types of bottles to how many species of fish there are is kind of something that's not going to go away. Like, that's going to be embedded in my mind, that comparison. I think that the research, yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, it is so funny when you look at it that way and say it's like bottles have their own species, is with his enlikening to try to make us stop and say, oh my God. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, it's interesting the angles of research that we do to, either make a point or to get deeper into a subject, right? So the angle that they took to be like, how many different types of bottles? Like, we know there's so many different types of plastic and so many ways that we actually use plastic in general out there. It's endless. It's in everything. But just to be like, well, just for fun, let's find out how many different types of bottles there are, and then to drive the point home.
Species.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and again, unfortunately, just like what you said, it'll stick with you later. And if you were ever, or someone who's reading it was about to throw a bottle somewhere, they might draw back and, oh yeah, that's right, I better not do it. Where's a receptacle?
Dude, and then that there's not even this many bottles in the aisles of the grocery stores. That's again. Well,
and you see how much they travel. Like, these things are traveling miles without breaking down, without decaying. And it gives you that idea how long they can travel, how far, how long without decaying. And that just makes you stop and say, they potentially float for what seems like ever. Certainly a lot longer than my lifetime. Email us, ladies and gentlemen. kellyco@ami.ca, and you can call us at 1-866-509-4545.
Are you ready for a draw with a cause? The Pet Valu Walk for Dog Guides is back, and this year they're celebrating 40 years of life-changing impact. We know the kind of life-changing impact they make for people with disabilities. And Anna Harris is the National Event Coordinator for the Lions Foundation of Canada Dog Guides, and she's here to tell us more about it. Welcome to the show, Anna. It's nice to have you on.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for your time. Can we start with the biggest thing, the one thing that Lions Foundation of Canada Dog Guides is known for? What's your cause?
So we are a national charity based in Oakville, Ontario, but we serve Canadians across the country from coast to coast to coast. And our mission is to empower Canadians living with disabilities to navigate their world with confidence and independence by providing them a dog guide at no charge. So that's what's really important to us, is we are able to provide these amazing little superheroes free of charge to the people who need them the most.
Excellent. And you got great reputation out there for it.
Yeah.
Curious, when you say dog guides, most of us default to blind and low vision people with dog guides.
Correct.
Are we talking about other disabilities as well here? Other kinds of dog
Yeah.
guides?
So
Okay.
our school is a unique school. It's the only school in the world that actually offers dog guides in 7 different programs. So we started with Vision almost 40 years ago. So that's part of why we're celebrating our walk this year, the 40th anniversary of the walk. But since then, we've branched out into having hearing dogs, dogs for service. So for anyone who's in a mobility device or needs help with their mobility. We have dogs for seizure response, for autism assistant, diabetes alert, and also facility support dogs. So those are dogs who work in like police stations or courtrooms who help to provide victims when they're giving challenging testimonials.
Got it.
It's
Yeah.
very nice.
So yeah, so it's quite remarkable that we have been able to branch out like this. It means that we're able to serve more people, and it means that we're able to make sure that our dogs are suited to their program best. Because not every dog is a vision dog. A vision dog is a
Right.
very distinct type of dog, and so having these 7 different programs means that we actually have a really high success rate with our dogs because we're able to match the dogs into the programs that suit them best, and then they're able to work best with their person.
Is any of the
Nice.
7 programs kind of taking off more than, again, like Rumya said, we tend to default to guide dogs. And we've heard of the different types of dogs, and I know there's so much competition out there for the guide dog schools. And
Yes.
a lot of us have heard about other dogs that do other things, and you wonder, well, where do people go? There's not as much in the way of knowledge and stuff like that. So can you talk a little bit about, as you progressed into these other areas, publicizing it, getting the word out there, and has any area taken off more than others? When I hear about a dog for persons who need assistance because of the diabetes, absolutely fantastic. You know, a thought I've had, and of course I know about people having, needing alerts who have seizures. So can you explore that with us for a few moments?
Yeah, of course. So as we know now, the statistics tell us that there's 1 in 4 Canadians are living with disabilities. So there's a high level of people who are needing dogs and needing dogs to help them. Now, obviously, our dogs are creatures; they're living beings. They all have their own personalities, but they are essentially there to help Canadians with a medical disability. So they are, we think of them not as pets; we think of them as working dogs with a very distinct purpose to very distinctly help their handler with a specific task. So each dog is trained specifically for that. Like I said, we did start with Vision, but as we've branched out, one of the programs that is in the most demand right now are the autism dogs. So these are dogs that work generally with young children who are on the spectrum, who are having challenges getting through their daily lives. And these dogs are little superheroes. They bond with these children. They provide so much comfort. They provide so much security. They provide so much consistency for these kids. And the difference that we see in their lives is absolutely tremendous. So we have kids who were unable to go to school who are now able to attend classes. We have kids and families who are unable to go on holidays or vacations because there was too much of a challenge with those kids. And now they're able to do things that they would never have otherwise been done. And it's the presence of these calming and nurturing and caring dogs who have bonded with their handlers, who've bonded with their families, who are trained to do very specific tasks to help those kids in need. So that's one
And I
of the
guess
programs that's really busy right now. That's one of our busiest. They're all busy because these dogs are in high demand, but it's the autism program we're really seeing a lot of interest in that program.
I was gonna ask because when that first like 80% of your description, it really does sound like a lot of emotional support between the handler and the dog. But I guess again, the distinction of these dog guides is that they are trained to perform specific tasks to help with particular disabilities and situations.
Yeah, so that's something that's really important to us and really that we really like to make clear for people. So they're not pets, they're not emotional support animals. These dogs go to school anywhere between 4 months at the very, very shortest to anywhere between 8 to 10 months if they need a little bit more time. They're in school 5 days a week. They're in small classes with their trainers. They get a lot of personal attention, and they are trained to do very specific things. So I'll just tell you a personal story. I have a dog right now, a dog that I fostered, who is now in school, and she's training to be a diabetes alert dog. And that requires scent detection skills. And that is something that takes months to develop. And so she will learn to smell blood sugar levels when they drop low, and she will learn to alert her handler with a little nudge, and then will be trained to bark for help if her handler requests it, and also she'll be trained to retrieve her handler's diabetes kit. So if her handler falls and is unable to get up, the handler can ask the dog, ask the little superhero to go fetch a kit, and then that dog is actually trained to bring her a kit. So that's a pretty remarkable skill set that, like I said, takes time to develop, and we want to make sure that our dogs can do that in any context, so that they're comfortable doing that at home, they're comfortable doing that on the street, because we want our clients to feel empowered to go out. We want our clients to feel that the world is available to them again. And so these dogs and all of the programs really provide that for people. They provide them that safety and that security of knowing that if there's a problem, their dog is going to know what to do. And their dog knows what to do, like I said, at home, but also in busy environments. And that's part of what we do with our training and what we do through fostering the dogs and then having them in school for that long period of time.
Anna, with the differences now in training and needs for the dogs, has that broadened the types of dogs that are being used? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Especially with the different needs.
Yeah. So over the years, we've tried different breeds. So for a while, we had German Shepherds. We've had a couple smaller dogs over the years, but generally now we are finding the most successful results with Labrador Retrievers, some Golden Retrievers. We do our own breeding. So we will do crosses of Labrador Retriever and Golden Retriever, which also have a very high success rate. And then we moved into poodles for people with allergies. And poodles are a little different in their temperament than labs. If you have a poodle or if you know a lab, you know they're very different dogs, which is great because all of our clients have very different personalities. And one thing that we really work on, we have a whole department that works on this, is matching the personality of the dog and the needs of the dog with their person's lifestyle and with their person's personality. So you can have a dog who's really outgoing, who's really exuberant, but when they put their jacket on, they're super serious. You can have a dog who likes to sleep all day. You can have a dog who, so they all have their own personalities because they are living, creatures. So the different breeds, we see different patterns, of course, with that. But each dog has its own personality along with that. So right now we're mostly labs, with the cross, a little bit of cross breeding for Golden Retrievers in there, and then we have the poodles as a separate breed.
But you're not crossbreeding we're not doing doodles yet, are you?
No doodles. I don't think they've done a doodle litter, and we have a whole breeding department. We do all our own breeding. So we have a facility out in Breslau, which is near Guelph, Ontario, and we have dogs who come through our program who get selected for breeding. Sometimes we partner with different organizations and do different breedings that way. So we actually have about 200 puppies a year, which is like, I'm a dog lover, so it's like my dream come true to see all these puppies coming out. A lot of puppies. We have an amazing community of fosters who take care of these puppies for the first year. So none of the dogs start their formal training until they're at least a year old, if not a little bit older than that. So for that first year of their life, they live in people's homes. So I fostered 3 dogs. They live with you for a year. They go everywhere with you. You take them on the bus. You take them to family gatherings. You take them to restaurants, coffee shops. We use that first year to really get them aware of all the beautiful things in life and the challenging things in life and other dogs. And so that first year is really just building that confidence in the world. And then when they're older, they go into their specific program that's generally selected for their temperament and for their breed sometimes as well. So right now it's, like I said, it's poodles and labs mostly. Every once in a while we get a few. We have a little Papillon dog that was donated to us this year. So 2 small Papillon dogs that are going to be earmarked for the hearing program, because people like small dogs for that program. Yeah. So so it's always fun when we get a different dog in, but it's mostly labs, Goldens, and the poodles.
Fantastic.
So cool. Well, Anna, before we let you go, of course, we want to hear about the super fun fundraising event. There's a draw involved. Tell us all the details.
Yeah. Okay, amazing. So, our biggest fundraising campaign of the year is the Pet Valu Walk for Dog Guides. So, like I mentioned, it costs $35,000 to raise, trace, rain. Let me try that again. It costs
More than
$35,000 to raise, train, and place all of our dogs. So that includes the breeding, that includes the care they get when they're being fostered. That includes their schooling. And also, once the dog graduates, we make sure that there's still support for that dog and for their handler until the dog is officially retired at the end of their working career. So that's an expensive project for us, and we can only do it because we are supported by the wonderful donations of generous Canadians across the country. So our Pet Valu Walk for Dog Guides is our biggest fundraising campaign of the year. Our goal this year is to raise $1.6 million, which is a lofty goal, but I'm confident we can do it. And the way it works is we have walks across the country. So we have about 200 walks across the country that usually happen in the spring. Our national walk date is Sunday, May 25th. Some areas have their walks on a different day. So if you're looking for a walk in your neighborhood, you're going to want to check out our website, which is walkfordogguides.com. And there you'll see the list of all of the locations that we have, and more are being added every day. And it's a really fun fundraiser. You get to get out with your local community. You get to get out with all your friends and neighbors and go for a walk. It's dog friendly, so you can bring your own dog. Some communities have.
If we don't have a dog, can we borrow a dog?
Yeah. Yes. Bring any dog. Bring your neighbor's dog, of course. You can come
It'd be nice if
without
we're
a dog.
also supplying the dogs. Yeah.
I know, right? Well, some of the walks in Ontario do get a fair amount of foster dogs. So we have a walk in Toronto.
Oh, nice.
The big foster community. So we do get a lot of foster dogs at that walk. There's a lot of dogs
looking for
also.
the one that likes to sleep.
Yeah.
we could find you one of them.
Walk together. Yeah.
But yeah, we have our biggest walk is in Oakville, which is where we're based, and that walk also gets a ton of foster dogs, and some of the dogs in school join us for that walk as well. So we're always happy to have people join us with or without their dogs. And some walk locations, like I said, in Ontario, will have a good showing of foster dogs in their green jackets as well. So the walk happens in May, but we are doing an early bird registration giveaway. So if you register before February 5th, which is coming up soon, and make a $20 donation, you can donate to yourself, you could donate to a neighbor, a friend, or just to the walk in general. And if you make that $20 donation, you have the chance to win an iPad. So we're really looking forward to that giveaway.
Very cool. Anna, thank you so much. All the best leading up to the walk, of course, and everything else around it. And you guys do amazing work. So thanks for sharing all the ins and outs of that as well.
Good luck.
Thanks so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Take care. We'll keep in touch. So we were talking to Anna, and you can still register yourself or a team, as she said, to participate in the Pet Valu Walk for Dog Guides until February 5th, and then start fundraising your heart out for that May 25th walk. You can check for a walk location in your province. Like she said, the two major ones are Oakville and Toronto by visiting the website walkfordogguides.com.
I think it's really amazing when we've talked about the potential of different types of dogs and requirements that so many people could use, whether it's a dog helping you with your blood sugars, pulling you out of a chair because of your motor skills, or something, so simple as being support in court for somebody, or at the airports. We had that conversation many years ago. I love this on the levels of what puppies can do for people. There are so many people out there that just want and need that support. So fedoras off to them, and good luck with the fundraising everywhere around. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a thought that, obviously now we have so many different technologies taking over the connections we have with either other people or with animals, right? Like we say, hey, a cane is easier than a dog for X, Y, and Z reasons. And then you have now AI canes that kind of act like dogs do, right? Like they're able to real time correct and all this other stuff. But when she specifically mentioned the diabetes dogs, I thought of people in our own lives who have diabetes who couldn't just go to their technology, right, to know when your blood sugar is dipping. That's real-time information as well. But there's something about the emotional support lended to you by another being. And I think that nudge from your dog can sometimes snap you out of a particular mental health place, or emotional stress that a blood sugar monitor just can't do. You know what I
That
mean? Like
technology doesn't
it's
give.
different.
Even waking you up
No,
more
yeah.
to it. I mean, just for whatever reason, it's sort of like someone saying to you, "Are you okay? You look kind of like you're
Exactly.
growing a little white there. Are you feeling all right?"
Exactly.
Or
It's
whatever it
another
might be.
living being. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just seems so different, and I wonder how much in the human mind we react to that. Tremendous, good thought. Remember to check out our podcast from your podcast platform of choice, and give us a rating and review if you would while you're in there. Subscribe to the Kelly and Company podcast and the Kelly and Company YouTube page. Subscribe over there if you would. Enjoy all the content that we place over there. Many places in which to check out our content and to be involved with the program. Mary's joining us, and we're going to talk a little bit about Super Bowl snacks as we're joined by culinary expert Mary Mammoliti. Got a little bit of a twist today, though, with these snacks. Mary, you've got a game day feast for us to enjoy, and really enjoying what the heck we're going to do, especially if you're not really a game fan.
Absolutely.
Which one of us is that? We're all
It's
there
not
to
really a
watch
game
this.
fan.
Well,
I am.
but
Yay sports.
I don't know.
Yay sports.
Yeah. Sorry, Mayor, can you say it this way? No, first of all, more
Yay,
believable. But
halftime.
yay, sports food.
True.
Exactly. For me, it's all about the food, the halftime. But I still, I'm there for some of it.
Sure.
Some of it.
'Cause the rest
Some
of
of
it
it
would
you
be
can't
mean,
help
like-
but be there.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't just disappear for the rest.
Yeah, when you're
Timberlake.
eating
I mean,
it,
if I'm
Mary,
gonna
sit down. Get a load off your feet. Just have a seat, relax. You've been running around in the kitchen. Yeah, but that stupid game is on playing. Mayor, again, it's a day of indulgence. Somebody goes out, buys a new TV for the Super Bowl. They say there's high TV sales and stuff like that when it comes around game time. Super Bowl snacks are all about indulgence, Mary. What's the secret to make game day so special without the hefty bill?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, and again, we're talking about food, we're talking about lots of people. If you're hosting a party, you can even have a party for one, a party for two, a family. It's all up to you. Here's the thing. You don't really need to be fully invested in the game. We just talked about this, right? You could still dive into that food
Blasphemy.
palooza.
I can't help that, folks. I'm not fully in charge of what these people say. Blasphemy. Carry on, Mayor.
Well, I have it on and it's playing on in the background while I'm doing stuff. It's there. It's there.
It's the white
there.
noise.
It's there.
Yeah, it's there. But honestly, food and the Super Bowl, they really do go hand in hand. So if you're watching, don't just settle for a bag of potato chips, right? Treat yourself. Do something a little special. Do a little full-on feast for maybe you, yourself, your family. Here's a little tip. So here's what I like to think about whenever I'm planning this. If it's for me, if it's for my family, if it's for a group of people. Ask yourself, this is your game day checklist. So think of it as your roadmap to like the perfect lineup, the perfect planning, right?
Lineup's a good term. Offense,
Lineup,
defense.
you like that?
She has no idea what teams are involved. Anyway, go on, Mayor.
I think I do. I know Eagles are one of them.
Oh, the other one's even
Was that
easier
right?
because of Taylor Swift. Yeah. Oh, my good heavens.
Look at me. I think I shocked myself on that when I saw it somewhere or heard about it somewhere.
Wow.
But yeah, so honestly, just here's your roadmap. This is what I want you to think about when you're planning it. First question. Ask yourself, is it budget friendly? That is key to me. Groceries, we know the whole deal. Everyone's talking about it. We've been talking about it forever because they just keep on going up and up and up in price. So the first thing you want to do, keep it budget friendly. Is it simple to make? And can I grab the ingredients at my regular local grocery store? The reason why that's key is because you don't want to be bopping around from store to store to store. Cost you more money, you'll find different things to buy, or if you're ordering online, doubling up on those service fees. Order it from the one store that you normally shop at and keep that key because you don't want to, again, increase costs. But to give you a little bit of meal inspiration for this, I have to do this. Now, I'm going to mention hot dogs. Now you either love them, hate them. I love hot dogs, but
Or
not
avoiding
just
them.
any old, or avoiding them.
Yeah,
Try the all
like
beef.
you wouldn't cross the street for it, but maybe Mary, maybe you
All the
would.
articles. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, for me, it's even a nostalgia thing. After a club with the friends, you hit the street meat, and it's right there. There's the hot dog stand.
Get the Union of Meats or Bone or anyway.
Something.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to do just any old hot dog. So if you have an air fryer, cook a few hot dogs in it. They come out juicy. They come out perfectly golden. Just like, those classic roller dogs. Do you remember those? I think 7-Eleven still may have them. And I think Costco may actually cook their hot dogs like that.
The steam ones, right? There was all that big steam stuff. Wasn't Shopsy's really big for that when they had those deli fries?
Yes. And they had these steel rollers that they would roll these hot dogs on.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's the thing that I remember about this, right? They're good. They're great with a little just drizzle of mustard. Tell me if I've lost either of you.
Oh, I love it. You got me.
And then what's great about it is this total meal with the buns under $15. Add a bag of frozen fries. You have a full game day meal for the family and under $20, which is what I love about this.
Yeah. Yes.
So true.
Yeah. And it's all done in an air fryer. So it's just quick, it's easy, and it fits within most budgets.
Okay. Next, Mare.
Yeah.
The trending
Next one.
food.
Trending viral foods. So buffalo chicken tenders, they are having a moment. And this week, I have to share some of these sales. Freshco has a deal on buffalo chicken tenders. Jane's boneless breaded chicken bites with buffalo sauce. You can see how I can get that all twisted up. They're on sale for about $6.99. And if you grab 4 boxes, scan your Scene card, which is their loyalty card at the checkout, you get $10 in points. So the 4 boxes work out to be about $17.96 for the 4, which is a great deal.
That's good. Okay. I don't remember. the
I'm
price
not
for
a fan,
these kind of
right? So I'd be more
frozen
for the
foods,
buffalo
yeah.
sauce, just the sauce itself. I don't know
But
what
I
it is.
love
Why I'm
buffalo
not.
chicken.
Why I don't like boneless anything. I just boneless
Really,
chicken
even
things,
with
I
just
don't
doused
know
in
what it is.
buffalo sauce, I'll take anything.
Yeah,
doused in
you'd really
buffalo
have to
sauce. Even
douse them. Like, I
vegetables.
mean, it'd have to be a swimming pool worth. Like, wow.
Yeah,
I think it's
mean,
Harvey's that do the buffalo chicken poutine.
Yes.
Oh, so good. Oh my gosh, I
Yes.
missed that.
Yeah.
Some of that I don't mind. Yeah.
That's what I'm getting for the Super Bowl. Okay.
Well, maybe buffalo style cauliflower.
Oh,
Yeah, I
gosh,
know I
that
said
is good.
vegetables, but
I would
I-
imagine that to be good. I'd prefer it.
That is so
They
good.
are
But
good,
if you
man.
do like a beer batter with it, and you just batter them up a little bit and then pop them into the air fryer, and then when they come out, that's when you douse them with a little bit of that buffalo sauce.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I need that for lunch today.
Fried that chicken. Yep.
Is Freshco Loblaw, by the way? Loblaws?
I think Freshco is a Sobeys,
So
under the Sobeys umbrella,
is-
I believe.
I
Is
think
it?
it's,
Under Loblaws, isn't it?
No, I think
Question
it's
mark?
Loblaws. I don't know. I don't know.
I
should
feel like
know.
it's all the
Is
same
it?
thing. So
Because I know No
Loblaws.
Frills,
I'm checking. I'm checking.
Fortinos,
I'm pretty
No
sure it
Frills,
is
Fortinos, Loblaws. Those are all 3. I know that for sure.
Yeah. While she's
I
checking
think
there,
Okay, well
let's
now we have to
get
look
your
into
last
that.
one
Now you
here.
got me thinking.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Yeah, she's checking that.
Okay, hot deal. This is another hot deal because we're talking about savings. This one I took full advantage of. Staples, they're having this deal this week that
I honestly
took
thought
full
it was a
advantage of it.
typo. I thought it
No,
was a typo when you said
Staples.
Staples.
Right? Who would have thought to buy food at Staples? Well, it's actually technically coffee pods. So if you're a coffee lover, don't miss this sale. So what it is, it's you buy one and get one free. And on these coffee pods, so boxes of coffee pods. And it was in store only, but I checked this morning and they're now offering some on delivery. So you can deliver and have it delivered to home for the same deal.
You said
So I
pods,
recommend
Yep.
pods, those K-cup pods.
Okay.
So it works in
Yep.
many of those coffee makers now.
The Keurig
Okay.
machines
And-
or
Exactly.
Keurig Nespressos. Right. Okay.
the other. Wow. But Mayor,
Yeah.
and it's interesting you'd see that, and I wonder where else we'll see that, because I don't think I've ever heard of a sale like that, whether it's Canadian Tire or anything, or any of the stores.
Exactly.
So I'm interested to see if we start going that way. And, maybe it's the right time before Super Bowl, before tariffs, that we do something like that.
I
Yeah,
hope so,
tax break too.
because I don't remember seeing this in years. Buy one, get one free. And the great part about it is that if you can buy, example, like 30-pack boxes of Tim Hortons, get 2 boxes, you're getting 60 pods for under 25. There's an even better one, Timothy's Breakfast Blend. It's a box of 60 for $37.99. Pick up 2 of those, 120 pods for $40.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good
That is
heavens.
impressive. We know the actual
Pick
prices.
up 2 of something and get 2 more.
Yeah.
ahead, Ron.
Freshco
Exactly.
is Sobeys, which is competitor
you're right.
of Loblaws.
Loblaws,
Yes.
for sure. You were right,
So
man.
I'm not
So it
going to
is
get out on
Sobeys.
Voila.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Mayor,
Okay,
as
so that's
usual,
good.
thank you kindly.
Have a great game day.
Yeah, and
Thank
you have a
you.
couple of cups of coffee, discounted. Throw some tenders in batter because they need all the help they can get. And those steamed hot dogs, but put
Yeah.
them in your deep fryer. Sounds great.
Air fryer. Yeah, so good.
An inexpensive Super Bowl meal set for you. Mary Mammoliti joins us on the program once a week on Thursdays. Ramya, you'll be back with us on Monday on the program, I think.
Yep.
Wow. Do I know
Yep.
schedules or no? I'm just guessing off the top of my head.
me
Thanks a
too.
lot. We'll talk to you then,
Later.
right? Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Kelly & Co. AMI. And remember, on our next program, the theatrical release of the highly anticipated documentary Blue Rodeo, Lost Together, is making its run across Canada. Dale Hesplick, the director, and Jim Cuddy from the band will join us on the program Friday. Hopefully you'll be here with us. Fedora's off to you. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks for tuning in to Kelly & Company. Follow us on all social media. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more.